Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever it is, wherever you are. My name is Broke, and this is Understood. And I'm passing it to Queen T.
Hello. We're just gonna jump right into it.
Oh yeah, hold on, T. I forgot. T in here, but we got Jamarcus in here. Y'all give a round of applause for Jamarcus.
Yeah, what's up?
And we got Rez on the phone. Okay, now we jumping into it. Back to T.
Yeah, so this week we're really just going to be talking about pretty much current events, more pop culture related, I think, than most of our podcasts have been. But we're going to start out with Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane then popped the question to his longtime girlfriend, Keyshia Ka'oir. Now, I don't know if that's just my ratchet side, but like, I love Gucci Mane. Like, I love Keyshia Ka'oir. Like, I just love them as a couple, whatever. So at the Atlanta Hawks game, this was, I think, on maybe 3-4 days ago. They were on the Kiss Cam.
We recording this on the 26th.
Yeah. So I think it was 22nd or 23rd that it happened. But the Kiss Cam shot to Guwop and Keyshia, and he stood up with a 25 carat diamond ring that's estimated to cost between $3 to $5 million for his bae. So he showed out with the ring. She said yes, of course. And now we got Gucci Mane and Keyshia Mane. We got the Wopsters, the Guwops, whatever you want to call them. I'm here for it all day, every day. I love it. Any thoughts on Gucci Mane?
Well, I can get into my former ratchet self and say that Gucci used to be my guy. I be freestyling, don't using no pencil. I be going on this instrumental. But yeah, Gucci, I mean, on one hand, I feel like I can critique it because I'm like, man, it's a lot of stuff that you didn't do, but you got to know where Gucci done came from, man. Gucci was pushing folks out the Lambo. Now he just a rehabilitated man. I mean, He don't drink no more. He don't smoke no more. And it's just like
lost some weight.
Yeah, and it's like he needs to go ahead and drop the workout video. But yeah, Gucci. He didn't get down on one knee, but Gucci did it though.
Kimon.
What?
The ring was 25 carats. He should have got down on one knee. He should have got down and be like, thank you for his ring. But she got on both knees in front of everybody, man. Like, no, boy, that's 25 carats.
And this is why I wanted to bring that up, though, because on Twitter, everybody was going in because girls were like, oh my gosh, 25 carats. And a lot of dudes was like, most of y'all females ain't worth 25 carats. She held it down for him and this and that. What you do to deserve it. So, she really did hold it down for him, though. I can't, they've been together, I think, about 10 years now. She done been with him through all his prison sentences, all his time served. She be there and ready for him to come home. And when he come home, she makes sure he's set up, and they've been doing it. Not to say that's relationship goals for me. I don't want the man in and out of prison, but I'm just saying.
And he did a whole lot of cheating too.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, so if she held it down that long, she deserved all 25 of them carats.
Every single one of them.
I didn't know you could put 25 carats on a ring.
Right. But keeping it in the music world, we got Bruno Mars, who dropped his album last weekend, 24 Karat Magic. And I just wanted to talk about this just because the album to me is just pure dopeness, just 100% from song. Now, it is a short album. We talked about that a little bit. It is short. It's maybe how many minutes long?
33 minutes. And I'm glad you took it though, because
wait a minute though, from song, all 33 of them minutes is gold. 24 carats.
But it wasn't 25 though.
It could have been. Basically, to me. So, but he give you old school, James Brown, 60s funk kind of feel. Then he goes to the 80s, 90s R&B, which is my favorite era of music anyways, just as far as R&B. So maybe that's just why I love it so much. But I'm here for the album again all day, every day. I'm checking for him on the album. Go ahead, bro. What you got to say?
So, as I'm listening to it, like only reason I've never listened to a full Bruno Mars album, other than what the songs that I hear in the grocery stores and on in department stores. I've never really heard much of Bruno Mars. So T wanted to talk about it. I'm like, okay, let me go check it out. First thing I see is, wow, 33 minutes, 9 songs. These albums are getting shorter and shorter, and I blame Kanye for that, because Kanye back in 2007 delivered Graduation, and it was 13 tracks. And Kanye used to go on like 19, 20, but he went 13, and it was pure genius. So a lot of times you can watch Kanye. Rez done said that before. You watch Kanye and see where music going. And I blame Kanye for that. But I'm listening to the song and I'm like, it's oversaturated with sex. I didn't really too much like it until, what was that? Like song number 4. What was it?
Perm?
Huh?
Perm?
No, not Perm. The one, hold up. Let me look at it. I sent you the Facebook message about it.
I know what you're talking about. What I like. That's what I like.
Yeah, what I like.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, music has a feel to me. Sometimes I don't necessarily know what music is saying, but when it feels good, I'm like, okay, that song right there felt good. That song felt good to me.
That's what I like.
And then hold on, let me get the rest of them. Yeah, that's what I liked. I like that one. What was
while you looking for that, I want to know, because we were talking about it earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. Jamarcus over here said he wasn't really feeling the album, so I'm interested to know.
Hold on, let me say I like All My Lovelies.
That's the one I didn't listen to. I listened to all
Well
of them
Parts.
All My Lovelies.
I like My Love. All the Ishas. Like I really felt that one.
All the Ishas waiting on her.
And then the finesse felt real good.
Oh yeah,
finesse felt real good.
So for me, when I listen to music, I'm more of a content person.
Okay.
So like I pick and choose music by content.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking earlier, and Kimo was like, it was just booty everywhere. Like straight out the gate is booty. Like you just hearing about sex is saturated in sex. And me personally, like as far as even this topic of pop culture, like I am not a fan of the pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of how in America and even in other places we idolize celebrities. I'm just not a fan of it. And so I think just as far as the content goes, I'm not a fan of it, because especially being about sex, when you get to the real level of what sex is and dealing with it with people in relationships, like, man, stuff gets heavy. Like even from a guy's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. The guy, he's talking and he's like, man, yeah, do it for me. But I mean, when it comes for you to settle down with a woman, like you're gonna be like, oh, you've been out there hoeing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And vice versa for the woman. So when it comes down to it, I just think I just don't think it's healthy. And I can't say that it doesn't have its place in life. But as far as content goes, I'm not a fan. There were a few good songs on there. Like, the beat, I definitely like the music aspect of it. It definitely gets you
So
nodding
take the
your head.
lyrics out and you here for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like change the content up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just like Kimon said, it's saturated in it. And me, well, when it's too saturated in something, I can't on one side of it really far. I just can't.
Now I can say, because me and Broke were talking about, he was saying that he was trying to decipher between basically if he was like exploiting his audience or catering to, like a certain group or whatever. And with you talking about like the content and everything, I watched an interview that he did, and he's been through some stuff. Like he's been like homeless, like, he's gone through a lot. So he could, if he really wanted to, I think, come out with like a solid album, like to where you can kind of see more inside or have something a little more in depth. Because I'm thinking about it now, like most of his songs have just been like love songs. So I don't think, even though this one was a little more diverse than his other stuff, I don't think that we've seen a project like that from him yet. So I would like to see or hear something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like as far as like talking to people about music, I hear a lot of people say that they purposely ignore the content just to
They just like the feel,
just to have something to vibe to. And then, like I've talked to people, they'll listen to songs with equally the music is equally as good, but the content is maybe a little
obscured.
Yeah. No, it's a little healthier. Like, and they'll get chills and stuff, chills about like the content with the music, but still they go back to the other thing. Like, I don't like, for me, it's just perplexing. I just don't understand like why people choose to ignore it. And it's kind of, it makes me think about the thought of this podcast, like being understood and stuff. And it's like, I feel like we live in a generation or a time where people choose to ignore truth just to feel a certain way. And so it's, for me, it's like I can't personally, I can't kick it. I can't vibe to it like that.
You were about to say something, bro?
Nah, you kind of hit up on what I had to say.
Okay.
Rez, you got something on it?
I mean, I haven't heard the album yet, but if it's about booty, it's for me. I'm gonna listen to it. But on a serious note, like I say, I ain't heard it yet. But if it's kind of linear and it's talking about the same thing, I mean, sometimes projects are just themed that way. Like sometimes people make projects and they're in a certain state of mind or a certain vibe, and they make just that for that album. And they might come back with the next album and it might be all serious. Like, it just depends on how people do their music. Some people give you a cornucopia of music on one album, whereas other people got the same vibe all the way through it.
That's a big word right there.
Yeah, I like that, cornucopia.
I go hard, bro. I go hard.
And to go back to what you said earlier, that leads us to Kanye. You were saying that Kanye started with like the 13 songs or whatever, the shorter album. Poor Kanye has been hospitalized since, I believe, last weekend. He was hospitalized all through Thanksgiving. I read a story today that was saying that pretty much he hasn't gotten any better. It said that basically he was still very much depressed and paranoid. And, this is around the time of the year that his mother died a few years ago. So I think I love Kanye. Like, and what I've always felt about him from the beginning to now, like people say he's crazy or whatever, like he may be a little bit, but I feel like he's just a tortured soul. Like he's such a visionary and such a creative person, and he has like so much inside of him, and he doesn't have a way to get that all out. He lost his mom, that was somebody that was definitely like in his corner and close to him. I mean, he has a wife or whatever, but I mean, it's not the same. Like, I don't think that she can reach him on the level that his mom would have been able to. But I think, like I said, definitely he's a tortured soul. He's hurt. I think he still hasn't mourned the loss of his mom properly. Like, he just has a lot going on, and he needs help.
I've always liked Kanye. It's only one point in time in which I kind of didn't like him, and that's when he got off in his moment in which I felt like he was going against God, like with Power and Yeezus and things of that nature. But I grew up, I say it all the time. He has the 3P. I cannot think of a time in hip hop when someone gave you a classical first album, classical second album, and rounded off with a third one that was even better than the other. I still like Registration a little bit more, but we not here for all that. It's just the fact that he gave you a trilogy. That school trilogy was one of the dopest things in hip hop. And Kanye is such a visionary to the point where hip hop heads like myself don't really question the fact that he has writers. We just like, man, the boy got some dope music.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Kanye, I can think of 2 times in my life in which I felt like I had vital information and I'm so excited about it and I'm trying to stress the importance of it. Not necessarily, it's either me being excited about it or me stressing the importance of it. And that's when I got saved in 2009 and when I really got into, I don't want to say activism, but when you start caring more about the Black community and people in general, and you see the things that are going on, and you know your true history, and you really begin to wake up and recognize, and it's like, I got this information. I know what we need to do in order to dig ourselves out of this hole, but no one is listening. And it's like when he had the interview with Sway, people are looking at him like, Kanye is crazy. Oh, he laughing. You ain't got the answers, Sway. You ain't got the answers. It ain't rap though. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, I understand exactly where he's coming from through the humor. And I see that he is really dealing with some stuff and people not taking it serious. And like, I can only imagine, like even what he was saying about, I mean, we know that the rap industry has kind of been going at Drake as of the last few years. But if it's anybody in the rap industry that's gonna understand Drake, it's gonna be Kanye. So just the fact that you got some title and Apple war and because of that you can't make music, that's the record label all over again. So I mean, I understand his frustration, and on top of that, having to deal with real life issues too. And
and then you had his wife and child were, robbed or whatever.
Not
and
the
then
child, but yeah,
or his wife, was robbed, Kim.
Yeah.
And he had a concert, I think maybe this was a few weeks ago, when he just like stopped and went off, and he was expressing how disappointed he was and how he was hurt by Jay-Z. He said he had been trying to reach out to him. It was some award show. I don't remember exactly which one. But Beyonce was saying allegedly that she wouldn't perform if
I think
him
it was the
or
MTV
Drake.
Music Awards.
Yeah, if him or Drake won over her, that she wasn't gonna like perform her song. So I mean, if you listen to him when he goes on his rants, like he's telling you what's like hurting him or what's wrong, because he was like really upset at that concert.
Well, I got opposition to that, but Reg, you trying to get in here?
Just a few things. For one, anybody who knows me knows that I've defended Kanye to a fault, pretty much. Like, throughout his career, anything he did, I would defend him. And I always understood what he was saying, but these last couple of rants, I can't lie, they sounded a little coonish, because, even when he got into it with Sway, what he was trying to explain to Sway was, I have money, but I don't have money like these people, and they're blocking me out. Mm-hmm. They're blocking me out from getting there. And for him to turn around now and say it's really about classism, it's not about racism, really, bro, they're blocking you out because of how you look. If you look like them, I'm pretty sure they bring you along, like they'll bring you along as a protege, but because of how you look, it's harder for you to break through and get access to those things. Me and you talk about that all the time, Broke, about how, it's hard for us to get, we don't own any resources. So we can't be captains of industry if we don't have resources. Like he was saying, if I don't have cheap access to silk and these fine fabrics and cheap access to these warehouses to mass produce these things, then I'll never be able to do it on the same scale as a Ralph Lauren or any of these other high-end retailers or whatever you want to call them. So I understood him from that point, but now, he's kind of, like I said, it's sounding a little coonish, man. Like, I don't know. It might just be because he all over the place and he's stressed out. But I feel like that's to me, that's dangerous rhetoric when you start trying to dismiss racism and put something else in place of it.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying on the opposition, even though I say that I love Kanye, the just playing, advocate here, it's kind of sounding a little selfish too, because if that's what Beyonce did, then what Beyonce did was use her position in order to get something in which she wanted. I mean, what person who is a famous celebrity that doesn't do that? I mean, what if that's what Taylor did? way back when he jumped on there and said that Beyonce had the best such and such of all time. Like if she used her position. So it's kind of like, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're doing these things and you're branding these Air Yeezys or Yeezys, Yeezy pumps, like you're doing it and you're branding yourself. You're using your position as the artist that you are in order to sell shoes. Am I?
I don't know though, but like I wouldn't have did that to you if we were both in the same category. Like me and you both was up for video of the year, and me and you been friends since we was little kids. I ain't finna say I ain't doing the show if I don't win. When you on the bill, if it was anybody else on the bill, oh yeah, I ain't doing the show. But with you, nah, bro, I ain't gonna do that because me and you got a different type of relationship. And I guess he's feeling like him and Beyonce should have a different type of relationship. He went up there and risked his career at one point.
You right.
Saying that what he said to Taylor. You know what I'm saying? And for her to turn around and do that, like, it's pretty much like, it seems like that whole family, the Carter family, don't really care about Kanye whatsoever. Like you said, their kids ain't even played together.
And at the end of the day, like what you just said is the reason why we had this platform. You know, you got 4 people here. We don't always agree on anything. But what you just said was 100% right. Because it's memes floating out there like, I just want somebody to ride for me like Kanye ride for Beyonce. Like Kanye go harder for Beyonce than he go for Jay-Z. Like, so with that being the case, I totally feel where you coming from.
Yeah,
man.
Since we're in the pop culture realm, of course, with him being kind of on this downward spiral, a lot of people are likening that to his ties with the Kardashians. You know, they have a pretty bad track record of whoever they date. You got Bruce Jenner, that's now Caitlyn. You got Lamar Odom, that whatever, I don't know what that was he had going on. Now, Ray J kind of was on the come up. I mean, he kind of, you know, benefited from that situation. You know, but that's kind of what started them off. And I mean, he didn't decline like everybody else did. Like, I mean, he doing all right, for the most part. But how do y'all? I don't think it has anything to do with anything. Like, I just
people
think they
been
choose
bringing
poorly.
it up. I think it's a.
I think
we need to watch Tiger.
But it's one more. It's one more though, bro.
Reggie Bush.
It's one. Reggie, we won a Super Bowl when he was with Kim Kardashian. They need to get back together. Come on, Reggie, come back to New Orleans and bring Kim with you. Hurry up!
And he found just a Kim lookalike. His wife looked just like Kim.
But his career ain't looked the same.
Right? Well,
yeah, he started blowing that knee out. He wasn't never hurt with Kim.
Dang, they might be on or something there.
Yeah.
But moving forward, I guess we got Dylan Roof. And the reason we were going to talk about Mr. Dylan, I don't know how many remember this, but last summer, June 17th, in, what was that, South Carolina? Yeah, in South Carolina, that was the young white gentleman that was in a predominantly Black church that killed 9 people. I think 11 were injured, and they were pretty much trying to say that, I mean, it was
insanity.
Try to plead insanity or whatever. But in both state court and federal court, he has now been found competent to stand trial. And I know that they are, I think, trying to go for the death penalty on that. I want to make sure.
Can I just be real on something right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like this, man, I don't even.
Because I'm finna go hard. Go ahead.
Like I've always, if you've listened to me closely over the last few years, I always say, you know, depending on what, regardless of what a person has done, a person doesn't deserve the death penalty, because then we turn around and play the same person in which they played, and I've never liked it. But I just remember this moment, and like it was I had people telling me that I couldn't do the normal things that I did on Facebook as far as like inviting people to church and things of that nature because people were afraid. And it's like, are we going back to that time period again in which you have to even be afraid to go and worship the Lord? Like I am 100% okay with him being competent because I believe that he was competent. Mm-hmm. And it's like Kanye can plead insanity to get out of 21 more shows. He can't plead insanity to get out of the death of 9 individuals for no reasons. 9 individuals who invited him in with open arms because of the color of their skin. So, I mean, honestly, I have a lot to say about this, but I know that Rez has a whole lot to say about this. So, carry on.
Look, man, I don't believe in the death penalty in any case, any circumstance. I don't rock with it. But I will say this: us as a community, we always been super passive with everything that anybody ever does to us. We let everything ride. Dylan Roof shouldn't have to stand trial. It shouldn't have to worry about if he's going to face the death penalty or not. Dylan Roof should have never made it to jail, in my opinion. Somebody should have took care of that immediately. South Carolina got bloods on top of bloods on top of bloods. And that's the whole reason gangs were created. Bloods and Crips was created to protect the communities from the abuses of the police and white supremacists who would come in the neighborhood and do crazy things like that. So as soon as they found out, oh, this guy, the suspect, Dylan Roof, oh, we know he did it, well, we going to go see about him then. Because all they do is set the standard for it to keep happening. Just like we saw here in Mississippi, they turned around, they burned the church down. Like, we going to constantly see things like this because we don't never set the example. What if he would have been able to get out on an incompetency? Then what? Now we gonna sit here. We got to just sit here and watch them as they send them off to the psych ward. So I don't believe in always just sitting back and letting the justice system do its job, because it's happened all too many times where the justice system don't do its job. And like I said, I don't believe in the death penalty anyways. But it's more about the message for me. You got to send a message sometime, because when you do something in America, America's gonna send that message. Don't do that again.
And then what we've seen a lot too, I mean, yeah, he's, found competent to stand trial, but we've had people that they'll go ahead and, charge him or, whatever, and there still hasn't been any consequence for the most part. If so, a very small percentage. So there's still, no stride made. Like, I mean, we all knew he was competent to stand trial anyway.
Honestly, like, I really didn't even have much to say on this. I'm glad that they did right by saying that he was competent, and let's, move on and see what comes out of it. That's how I feel concerning that.
And on that note, we're going to move into my favorite thing that I've seen all week, just straight foolishness. We have Mr. Richard Spencer, who is...
Let me get it to you.
I got to do the intro. No. We got Richard Spencer and Roland Martin. They did an interview on News One, and I just wanted to give this quick background because I looked up because I'm like, who is this Richard Spencer person? And they kept saying he was with the National Policy Institute and the alt-right, like he recognized or identified as like alt-right or something like that. So the National Policy Institute or the alt-right is like a white supremacist think tank. The president is now Richard Spencer, but it was founded back in 2005 by Louis Andrews, and they started the organization because he said that his goal was that he wanted to see the Republican Party destroyed so that it could be reborn as a party representing the interests of white people and not entrenched corporate elites. It is a lot more, I think, racially infused now. Of course, it is a white supremacist group. But I'm gonna let you go ahead and because you itching over there to go ahead and get on it.
So the other day, this was probably like a week ago, when this conference from Washington came out, and you had these people who are doing the Hail Hitler thing with their hands, and they're just spewing out this
hate speech.
It's just I found it so funny. Like when I'm sitting back and I'm listening to this cat, and I'm like this is what I thought at the time. Like I laughed at it, but at the same time, I kind of thought that it was scary because I'm like, this is the individual right here that everyone should be afraid of, because he's like Trump times 10, because not only can he incite with he can incite the masses with what he says, but this guy right here actually kind of sounds like an intelligent dumb person. Like he sounds like a dummy with knowledge. And I'm like, when you have someone, I'm going there. Like I'm sitting back at the time. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, should I kind of even be worrying about this person? But then this interview right here happened, and I'm sitting back and I'm listening to it. And as I'm listening to it, like it's 30 minutes, but it was if you haven't watched it, I promise you need to go watch it. I started to say something about Facebook, but I wanted to get these words off in person. If you have not watched this, go watch it. I promise you, it's entertaining and it's so much worth it. It's so worth it. Get your popcorn ready, like Tio said. Now, in listening to it, you have him. He hung himself so many times, and it's like Roland Martin. I thought he executed it perfectly. It's a lot of people who have some stuff to say about what he said, but I felt like he did a great job, because it's like he kept pushing them in the corner, and sometimes he wouldn't even say anything, just let him just try to dig himself out of the hole while continuing to dig in the ground. Like it was so funny. It was just hilarious to see him say, how did America become America? By the genius of Europeans. So slavery had nothing to do with it. We would have found someone else to pick our cotton. Like, Egyptians built the pyramids. Egyptians are not Africans. Do you know where Egypt is? And
that was crazy.
That was my favorite.
That was crazy. Yeah,
if you listen to a Man Cave episode, I'm gonna just go ahead and tell on myself. I was talking to my boy Walt, and we was talking about Thanksgiving. He was talking about, man, I wish I could be over there with y'all eating turkey and stuff. I mean, I'm gonna spend my Thanksgiving in Rome. And I was like, he was trying to stun on us on the low, but I was like, okay, Rome, and we got to talking. I'm like, he gonna be eating pizza in Rome. I thought pizza was from Italy. So I had a real dumb moment. I'm like, I can't shoot 100% from the field all the time, baby. Like a dead clock is right twice a day. So of course I'm gonna be wrong sometime. Like that's how I'm looking at it. But oh my God, like how do you not know that Egypt is in Africa? Then to turn around and say, yes, it is in Eastern Africa. What did you just say? Like, oh my God. Let me stop.
Yeah, and then he said you wouldn't call a white somebody from Africa that was white African.
Yes, you will.
Right.
Like now African descent, but they were born in
African.
Africa. So Rez, I'm gonna pass it to you.
Hey, well, he called them. He called them the children of the sun.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He said they the children of the sun. You couldn't pick your own cotton because you can't be on the sun. He tripping, bro. Like, it was hilarious to me, man. I would love to talk to him. But I love people like him. Like, I don't like people like Hillary Clinton because I can't, you know what I'm saying? I got to decipher how you really feel. But him, he let me know. I like to know who my enemy is. So I know who I need to fade when it's time. I don't like to not know. I like to be in the know. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to find the snake in the tall grass. I want the snake to be right there in the middle of the street where I can see it. So him, I'm fine with him, man. That's great. I want him to bring all of the closet racists that were hiding in the closet, bring them out. like T.I., bring them out. Let me see you. Take that sheet off, fam, and come see me. I'm ready. I love it. All right, let's keep it going.
and see, like immediately, I told my boy Gregory about it, and he had a good laugh out of it too. And especially at the Children of the Sun line, because I was like melanoma, like
like a mother.
So I'm sitting back and I'm looking at Gregory, and I'm like, man, anybody on the understood panel would have ate him alive, and it's like. Honestly, I don't consider myself to be intelligent. I consider myself to be a dummy or average. So when I see people like him, he gives me hope. Like,
hey, bro. Have we ever talked about where the 2 highest cases of melanoma is?
We ain't gonna go there.
Israel and Australia. 2 places that they probably shouldn't be in the first place.
That's a discussion for another day.
We can talk about it next week.
But yeah, I mean, I loved it. It gave me a good laugh, and I was like, I was telling my friends, I'm like, it doesn't matter what color you are. You don't have to be white. You don't have to be black. You don't have to be, brown. What nationality you from? American, Mexican, Canadian, Spanish, European, whatever you are. You can get you a good little laugh off Richard Spencer. Like, and then like, oh, you got to go check out the website, like.
The alt-right website?
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Man, they got podcasts, blogs, like, and I'm like, man, look, if this was that funny, I got to go listen to these podcasts. Like I hope he come listen to Understood too. You can hit me up if you hey, Richard Spencer, if you're out there and you're listening, and if you ever want to come to Understood and just sit down, like you can come down here. Hey, you can hit me up. Ask us at weareunderstood.com.
Ain't trying to be here.
Or what?
Wait.
I'm trying to figure out. Now,
you trying to bring Richard Spencer to Mars Point?
Hey,
you might want to have a podcast somewhere. We go to Bankley.
Hey, no, he got protection. He good. We just want to have this conversation real quick, and we're gonna make sure you get out of here 100%, unfazed. We just, most of our people, like, we try to be serious. We try to have that balance where we serious at times, but at the same time where we, laughing and joking. And, our listeners, we need some good comedic value. Like, and he's gonna bring that. So, I would love to sit down and have a conversation with someone who don't know where Egypt is. Like, even though I ain't know where Rome was, like, stuff happens.
Just being honest, though, like for me though, thinking about it, it's not that comfortable. Like, especially like watching the video with him and Roland Martin, and he was like excusing that kind of behavior. It's comedic, but at the same time, you got to understand Hitler wasn't successful his first go around trying to push his agenda. Hitler had to try again, and that's the scary part about it. Like, somebody who excuses that kind of behavior, and like it's
what do you mean excusing that kind of behavior?
In the interview at Washington, is that the one? Whichever one where the interview was, where they were having their alt-right meeting or whatever, and the people, when they were like just the
he was saying, like, it was
crazy
exuberance. They were just doing it in fun.
Like, and they were like running
you.
up, shouting, and all that other stuff, and like white power and all that stuff. And he's saying it's okay, like, man, like, nah, like,
I feel you, because we thought it was awful. You know what? I've been saying this for the longest. Maybe especially as black people. I'm talking about people in general, but as black people, it might be time to stop with always laughing. Everything ain't funny. Because we were laughing at Trump and he laughed all the way to the White House.
Yeah.
So you might be right. But, and another thing that you said when you brought up Germany, that was funny too. That wasn't funny. That was a serious matter, but it was like that points to the ignorance of the knowledge in which the foundation in which he stands on, in which he said that he does not wish that we had lost World War II, but that we didn't get involved. Anybody that know anything about history, they teach you this in the 12 years. Like when we got involved, that's when stuff started to turn around. So he said that he wished that we wouldn't have got involved. And it's like, people don't pay attention to stuff like that because most people don't think to rewind and think about stuff like that. But I do got one other thing that I want to bring up. They say that he's a white nationalist, and I believe it. He's a white nationalist, but I don't believe it at the same time, because when I think of nationalism collectively, when it comes to groups, my bar is Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan is a black nationalist. Have no problem saying it. I love listening to Louis Farrakhan because I can decipher, what to keep. It's a buffet, so you got to know, what to pick up, put on your plate, what to say. I don't want none of that. Spit out the fat. Yeah. So when I'm thinking of nationalists, that's my bar. So if you say that, the other end of the spectrum is Richard Spencer, oh no, man, they had the blackball my boy from television because he was killing people in debates, and that was Richard Spencer 0-1 out here.
Well, so like, and another thing though is if he is a nationalist, or if he is a Hitler follower, like Hitler had a book, Mein Kampf, and it talks about like how to gear towards an audience or whatever. Like Hitler was a smart dude. Like I'm telling you, like he knew how to go back and say, okay, you didn't get it the first time, so this next time I'm gonna be a little different. So if he can adapt like Hitler did to win his audience, he's a dangerous dude. So it's funny, but at the same time, it's not funny because the dude has potential to go places with his rhetoric and with his belief system, just like Hitler did. And
Hitler was a genius, man.
Yeah, like Hitler knew how to manipulate the mind, and if this guy does it, and clearly he does, because he got people like excessively celebrating in his in those meetings. So like he can potentially be a threat.
I feel like I feel like he already a threat, and that's why I'm laughing at it already, because I already know he's a threat, because Hitler had to run propaganda campaign in order to get people to start feeling the way they felt about the Jews. He did social experiments. They created the ghettos, and he put them in the ghettos and took away their resources. And then once they started to act out and kill each other and do all this criminal activity, he broadcasted that on TV and said, "Look at how those Jews do. They don't have to do that with us. They already did it, and they continue to do it." So this guy don't have to set the stage for people to look at us a certain way. The stage has been set since we've been here.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in closing, I do want to say, I guess my closing remarks would be, congrats to Gucci Mane and Keyshia Mane. Big ups to y'all. If you haven't heard Bruno Mars' album, I like it. If you're an R&B fan, I don't think it'll do you any harm to listen to it. It's a little groove, as my girl Mary says. It's a vibe. And then the Kanye, Get Well Soon. That's
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Reg, you got something? Close this out.
Badass.
Oh, you. Yeah. I don't know what it is with folks plugging their music these days, but Reg, you can plug it. I see you stopped there because it was just, it's, what is it? BAYB. We'll say that much. And yeah, it was good having Jamarcus on. You know, he's always
Yes.
welcome. He normally is on the other side of things, running the board and things of that nature, but he's in front of a mic today, and I'm on the board. And as always, you know, you can hit us up, and I ain't even finna tell you all the places that you can hit us up, because you can go to one central location. weareunderstood.com. We got a domain, we got email, we got however you want to holler at us. You can holler at us. Like, however you want. You don't even have to holler at us. You can converse with us. You can, you know, only thing we ain't got going is snail mail, because we don't know what y'all sending. But if you want to send something digitally, we got you. You can, you know, you hit us up. Go to weareunderstood.com, and we gonna be there, and we gonna be back in your inbox also.
Donations.
We will take, we'll take a little donation. Now, if you want to send something, you can even send some, some digital currency. We even take some Bitcoins if you got them. We'll take whatever you're sending this way. But yeah,
whatever.
And you know what? I want to shout out the engineer Kingdom. Shout out to Kingdom. He been rocking with us since day one. I see you out there in England. Not England. Yeah, I think this is where you at. Yeah, I see you. But yeah, we wrapping up. Peace.